Alright, today we're going to be working on comparing and ordering rational numbers. A rational number is any number that can be written as a fraction. So, rational number can be written as a fraction. And that is going to have your repeating decimals from yesterday as well. So if you have 1/3, that's a rational number, even though it's a repeating decimal. So today we are going to compare them and order them the same way that we did before with working with fractions and working with positive and negative integers, but we're going to be working with fraction numbers and decimal numbers today. So for instance, we're going to have one that says 3.1, then you'll have your circle of where you're going to put greater than or less than in, and then negative 3.7. Well, a positive is always going to be bigger than a negative, so on this one, 3.1 is greater than negative 3.7. Have another one, negative 4.5 and negative 4.49. So when we're looking at the different negatives, whichever one is further left on the number line is smaller. So this goes to 2 decimal places, this one only goes to 1, so we can add a 0 here to make that line up with it, and this will be just to the left of this on the number line. So negative 4.49 is a little bit bigger than negative 4.50. So if you were digging a hole and your measurement was negative 4.5 feet, and then you dig another hole and it's negative 4.49, this one will be a little bit deeper. So it's a little bit less, a little bit further below 0. So this, for this answer, negative 4.49 would be greater than negative 4.50 because it would be just to the right of it on the number line. If it's to the right on the number line, that means it's greater. To the left, it's less. Another one would be,
there's a meeting at 7:50 in Mr. Norris's room for any students that want to show livestock. A meeting at 7:50 in Mr. Norris's room for any students that want to show livestock. Thank you.
alright, dealing with fractions. If I have 9/16 and I have 12/16, both are positive. 12/16 would fall just to the right of 9/16 on the number line. So if you had a pizza that had 16 slices on it, if you had 12 of 16 slices in one box and 9 of 16 slices in another box, the 12 of 16 would be more pizza. So it would be greater than there. You're also going to run into ones that, for instance, have negative 7/10 and negative 4/5. You can do this one of 2 ways. You can divide both out and turn them both into decimals, or you can look at it and say, I can have a common denominator here. Can this one go up to 10? Yes, it can. So I can rewrite it as negative 7/10 and then multiply this one by 2 to get it, by 2 over 2 to get it up to over 10. So if I change this to 10, by multiplying by 2, I've got to do the same thing to the top. So this is going to be negative 8 over 10. So on this one, negative 8 over 10 would fall just to the left of negative 7/10 on the number line. So negative 7/10 would be greater. You'll also have ones to where you have negative 3 5/8 and then negative 3.625. So this one, you can't just look at a number line and figure it out. You've got to have them both set up the same way. So the easiest thing to do here is just to change this one to a decimal. So I know it's going to be negative 3 point something, and then have this circle here, and then this is negative 3.625. So I take 5/8 and turn it into a decimal. So 5 divided by 8, put my decimal and some zeros, bring my decimal up, just like we did yesterday. 8 won't go into 5, so X there. 8 will go into 56 times. It's 48. 50 minus 48 is 2. Bring it down to 0. 8 will go into 22 times. 8 times 2 is 16. 20 minus 16 is 4. Bring down to 0. 8 will go into 45 times. 8 times 5 is 40. And this one terminates. So it's going to be 0.625. So I have negative 3.625 and negative 3.625. So that's going to be equal. And then we come back up here to the main problem. And this mixed number is equivalent to this decimal. So these are equal. They're the same thing. This just has it written in fraction form. This has it written in decimal form. There will be some as well that you have to work out and order them. You'll have a group of 3 or 4 numbers and it'll ask you to put them from least to greatest or from greatest to least. So if you have negative 2.46, negative 2 and 22 25ths, and negative 2 and 1/10, you can do it as well this way. And one other way that we haven't worked on changing things to decimals, if you can get them over 10 or if you can get them over 100, then you can say the word like you would a decimal and then write it that way. So negative 2 and 1/10, I say that as reading a fraction, but that's also in decimal form, word form. So negative 2 and 1/10 in decimal word form is negative 2.1. So I can immediately change this to negative 2.1. This one is over 25, so it's negative 2 and 22 25ths. You can't put that one straight into decimal form. It has to be over 10 or over 100 or over 1,000 or over 10,000 to go straight into decimal form. But you can change this one to something over 100. To do that, I'm going to take my fraction, multiply it by 4 over 4 to get this over 100. So put over 100, 22 times 4 is going to be 88. So this is going to be negative 2 and 88 over 100, which is negative 2.88. So I'm going to bring this one on down, negative 2.1. Bring this one down, which is already a decimal, negative 2.46. And now it wants me to put them in least to greatest. So the least is going to be the one that's the furthest negative, so negative 2.88. The next one will be negative 2.46. And the next one will be negative 2.1. But I have to go back to the original way they were written, so it's going to be negative 2.88 was negative 2 and 22 25ths. And then negative 2.46 was already written as a decimal. And then negative 2 and 1/10 was written as a fraction. Negative 2 and 1/10. So for questions like that, there's a little bit of work involved. It's not difficult work. You just got to go through the steps to get it done and then come back to getting the correct answer in the format that it had set up. And I left the T alpha greatest up there. But you will have a lesson to do on this. It's pretty simple, just comparing and ordering. You just got to switch these to the different forms that are available. And we'll work a little bit more on this in the coming days as well. So this won't be the only time that you're converting, fractions into decimals and decimals into fractions and all that. We'll have some more work on it later in the week. But this is just an introduction to it. We'll start working on it more, and by the end of the week, end of next week, it'll be super easy for you. Just need to get some practice in. So good luck.